Hey, welcome to another great episode of the Real Deal Podcast. I'm very excited about this one here with WNBA 2025 season is upon us next week. Got preseason happening right now. A lot of news and a lot of excitement heading into this season. I got a great guest in the background, but before I bring her in, hit my intro. Let's get it. Once again, welcome to another great episode of the Real Deal Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Courtney Harden. Glad to be back with a new episode here. You can follow the podcast on all the podcast platforms, wherever you get podcasts, whether it's Spotify, Apple, YouTube. We're everywhere. Spreaker. We're on the BS3 network. We're on Roku channel, BS3 network, the Roku channel there. Download the app there as well. You can follow me on @GetTheRealDeal on Twitter or X. I still call it Twitter, so it's Twitter to me. So Twitter X, and you can follow me on all those platforms as well, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I'm on Blue Sky as well and TikTok. So yeah, wherever you get, like I said, wherever you get podcasts and social media, you can follow the show there. Like I said, it's WNBA, very, very exciting time. If you're a WNBA fan, college hoops fan, women's basketball fan, just in general, we got the WNBA preview that I'm getting ready to launch today. And I got a great guest, someone I wanted to get on for the last few months. We were on a Zoom call. It was either with the WNBA or Unrivaled, somewhere we crossed paths on one of those platforms. And like I said, I wanted to get her on, so I'm not going to keep her waiting. I have Karli Bell on the show. She's the host of Courtside with KB. Native Chicagoan, so we got to talk about that as well. And she is all in on all things women's hoops. So, Karli, welcome to the show. I really appreciate it.
I know it's been, a couple months in the making. Things happen, Things change, and here we are. Let's just jump right into it. I'm excited.
Yes, I'm very excited to have you on because you cover WNBA as a whole, the Chicago Sky, but you've been doing a little bit of everything, just like I said, with the women's hoops and things like that. So I really appreciate your time and to kind of launch. This is like the my WNBA preview season preview. So you're like the first guest on it. So I really appreciate the time.
Love it. Yeah, we can talk hoops all day. Not only just we can do women's hoops, we can do, NBA, which has been interesting. That has been the Pacers Cavs series. I thought, the Cavs would actually be a lot more dominant than
me too.
The last two games. And then Tyrese Halliburton is like, nope, we're going to hit a three at the top of the key off my own miss of a free throw. So crazy.
Yeah, we can talk a lot. We can talk. We're going to talk some hoops definitely on the women's and men's side. And as you said, for the men, it's crazy that you said Halliburton probably say, "Oh, I'm overrated." Okay, let me show you what overrated really means. And yeah, he's balling. The Pacers are balling too. And I am surprised they're up 2-0. I thought maybe they would split against Cleveland at the least. But then again, the Pacers they were in the conference finals last year, and they're healthy. They're rolling right now, so they're a dangerous team. So Cleveland's in a world of trouble. They're in a little bit world of trouble with it now, with injuries too. On top of that, I think 3/5 of their starting lineup was injured yesterday. So and Donovan Mitchell had a monster game yesterday, but wasn't enough. So Indiana they got too many weapons on their team, too many pieces on their team. So they're doing their thing. So, but before we get into the WNBA, and I want to start there. I know we were talking about a little bit of something that you wanted to address. So let's start there. I want to something you wanted to address and say. Platform is yours. And before we get into your background and all that, so whatever you got to say, it's all on you. So the platform is yours.
I appreciate it. A couple weeks ago, I was on a Twitter Spaces, and we were just talking hoops, and some people online decided to go in and dig up some old tweets from 2012 and 2015 And I'm not going to sit here and say that I didn't say it, because I did say it. They're out there. The screenshots are there. And I'm just going to say this, I apologize and take full accountability for those tweets that are out there. But a lot of, this is no excuse, but people can change in 10, 15 years time. I have absolutely changed drastically from that person. I was only like 17 to 20 years old. I'm now 30. And you can learn a lot, educate yourself a lot on a lot of things, meet different people and understand different perspectives, different lifestyles, different, what's the word I want to look for? Different viewpoints on the world and everything. And when you sit there and you're able to have those open conversations with open dialogue and sit there and understand like, oh, okay, maybe the things that I thought weren't true, or, I never thought of this perspective. I never thought of this perspective. And I've absolutely educated myself from that standpoint. So I absolutely take full accountability for it. I am sorry for saying what I said, but I am not that person anymore. And anyone that knows me in this space knows that I'm not that person, and understands that that is not who I am. I strive to be somebody who loves all people, regardless of however they see themselves or however the world sees themselves. And I'm here to, be an uplifting support for the women's basketball space. As someone who played hoops for a long time, coaches, youth hoops now. I was a ref for a minute. Like, basketball is my life. I was around women's hoops since I was like 3-4 years old. So this is, this is a space that I really hold near and dear to my heart. And, I take accountability for it. I take ownership for it. I apologize for it. And I hope that we can all move on from this and understand that people grow and change in 10, 15 years time and know that they're no longer that person that they were.
Very well said. Yeah, hey, very well said. And like when we just really met and you were just say you wanted to address it. So I said, hey, I want to get you the platform and say what you had to say. And, regardless of whatever you said, I don't know anything, but you like I said, you addressed it, you apologize, and that's all you can ask for. And you said you grow. We were all young at one point. We said some things that I'm sure we all regret that we said. And you said people grow and we move on, and that's what it's about. Accountability, you move on. So that's all you can do. And so yep, I appreciate you doing that and just saying whatever, and everything too. So it's all good with me regardless. So I give you that. And, like I said, just wanted to give you that platform if you want to address that and everything too. So really, really appreciate that. All right, well, let's move on. Let's get right into my first question I want to ask you. You kind of move right into it. Like I always ask, who's Karli Bell? How you got into sports? And you said you've been around hoops, you reffed, you played, and all those things. So talk a little bit more about your background.
Yeah, so I grew up in the city of Chicago on the north side of the city. For people that are aware of neighborhoods in Chicago, think like Portage Park, Belmont Craven area. I grew up there and I fell in love. I was an athlete always. Like I played softball, I played volleyball, I ran track for a little bit. I never did cross country, long distance running, not my thing. But I really fell in love with basketball. I was the only girl on my block. And so I grew up with all guys, and a lot of them were a little bit older than me too. And the only way that, I was allowed to like hang out with them is through the sports space. And we loved playing alley ball and in the alley, shooting hoops, doing everything. And we had a blast. And that is really when I fell in love with basketball, because it was like one of the few sports that is 100% mental and like 10% physical. And it really addresses like everything from a mental standpoint. And I also loved the team dynamics and how the game works. It's just it's just a super, super fun game to play. And I just fell in love with it. I picked up my first ball when I was like 3-4 years old. Played all the way up until I was 16, until I had a really bad back injury and a concussion kind of end my playing career. But honestly, without that injury, I wouldn't have found journalism. I wouldn't have found reporting. I wouldn't have found the media space as a whole. And from there, when I got to college, I did a little bit of reffing to make some money, just to do what I could. And then Afterwards, I always helped out, some of my old coaches with their camps, running things, doing what, needed to get done. And then now I still get it. I can't let go of it, man. When they say ball is life, it really is.
Yes.
This group of girls, I had them in 6th grade. I coached them in 7th grade, and I want to follow with them through 8th grade because they're just such a fun group. And I coach youth basketball, and I don't ever want to get into anything beyond youth basketball. I really like working with the young kids because when I first got these girls, they didn't know any of the rules. They didn't know what traveling was. They didn't know how to make good passes, what a screen was, what zone was. Like, they didn't know what any of that was. And then by the end of 6th grade, I had them calling out screens. I had them calling out rotations. Like, they fully understood and embraced the game. And like, being able to teach the youth, that is something that I really, really, really enjoy. And so that's when I've been in it. And now I've been reporting on it because, I just can't leave the hardwood.
Yeah. I can resonate with that big time because you're right. I think you're right. Ball is life, and it's in us. If you, especially basketball, if you say if you played whatever level it was, if it was high school, college, youth, and then you said you got into coaching, and refereeing, things like that, you just don't lose it. I'm sure every time you probably get a basketball, you're like, I just want to shoot a couple hoops. I just want to shoot, dribble, and things like that. I'm the same way. Like, I did the same thing, and played, and then as I got older, my nephews and nieces, they wanted to play, so I coached them for a few years, and I stayed in it with them until they got a little older. I think they got to like when they were 14, 15. I said, okay, it's time for me to let them go, let them play with other coaches and things like that. They played high school and stuff like that. So, but I do miss it too, because I got other nieces, smaller nieces and nephews. They want me to coach, but I'm trying not to. I want to, but because I live further away now from them now, as they grow up, as the next generation. But I'm like, if I was back home, I could do that again. So I understand that love of it as well. So I totally get that. You just don't lose that at all.
No, that competitive spirit's always there. It's really hard to shake it ever.
Yes.
It's really hard to shake it. Like, when I stopped playing, I was going through so much physical rehab, and this was also pre-concussion protocols. So the concussion that I had was the blood out the ears, nose, mouth.
Ooh, yeah, real bad.
And so when we got the scan done, they sat there and they're like, oh, you've actually had the damage of 6 to 7 concussions already at that point. And I was only 16. I grew up with all guys, and the way that we were playing alley ball, you're getting chucked into a garage. You're falling on asphalt. You take your hits where they happen. And so it's one of those things where I'm glad that I kind of stopped. I was able to save my brain to a degree, and that's like the biggest thing. And that's why I'm really, really big on concussion protocol, especially with my girls now. Like, if they take any hit to the head, I'm like, I'm taking you out. We're gonna look at this. I don't want as someone who I know for a fact, once I get up there in age, once I get into, my 60s, 70s, like, I'm going to really have to worry about, the Alzheimer's or the dementia really kicking in early, which I'm not excited about. But, it's something I really take seriously, especially health and player safety at all levels, player safety specifically. That's a huge thing for me.
Very important. Yes. Now with all the things we, with the concussion protocols and the resources that we can, provide, you can see and everything too. It's yes. So yeah, you had a really bad concussion, like you said. That's a real bad one. So I'm glad that you're good.
We're good now. We're good now. That's what we're all about. Is everything you get healthy now? You move on. You do all your work. You do all your work. You take care of yourself when you start to feel certain things come up, and that's it. That's all you got to do.
For sure. All right. So now, like you said, you're in the journalism, podcasting, reporting, all those things. Talk about that transition a little bit, about the journalism, and then we'll get into the podcast, and then we got to talk some W's. So talk a little about how you get, that the journalism, like you said, all the things you did set you up for where you are today.
Yeah. So I went to Ohio University to get a journalism degree, had an absolute lovely time in Athens, met some lifelong friends, along with colleagues and mentors that I still work with today. Went there, and I always thought I wanted to be, that local sports anchor on your local TV news.
Yeah.
And then I did local sports, and I was like, I don't want to do this. This is so not my space. This is not for me. You do so much work for very little pay.
Yeah.
You do so much work, and viewers will still always find something to nitpick you on. And it's just, it wasn't worth it. I was ready to navigate into more of a digital realm. And then when I got into a digital sphere right before the start of the pandemic, I did digital producing and content production solely for websites and apps. And I did that for 5 years, and that's where I got to go back into the W space. I kind of covered the W a little bit while I was in college for SB Nation. Really sporadically, wasn't anything too crazy, but I always followed the W because I had friends of mine that I played ball with and against that ended up playing pro, whether that be in the W or overseas. Right. So I always kept up with it and wanted to see, how my girls were doing. I was like, how's everyone doing? Who's scoring? What's
what's going on? Right.
So, and then when I got to my last employer, we got the Chicago Sky contract, and I sat there, and this is right after the Sky won their championship in 21. And I was sitting there and I'm like, this team is the same team that they had last year. And there's no media people here outside of a handful. And when I mean a handful, maybe 3 or 4 people, It was real sporadic. And I was like, the Sky have Candace Parker, the Sky have Courtney Vandersloot, the Sky have Allie Quigley, the Emma Mieseman, these are big
names. Yes.
Why aren't there more people here? And so in 2022, I kind of just sat back and was a sponge and witnessing how this women's sports in the WNBA space was covered. And by the middle to the end of the season, I sat there, I said, they need a show. This team needs a show. This is a team and this is a franchise. And I just saw the numbers coming. Everyone wants to say 2024 was when everyone started watching, which I'm going to give that to them. 2024 was the biggest explosion, but the increase in viewership really did start around 2019. COVID actually really hindered them a little bit. But in 2021, no joke, when Candace Parker won the WNBA finals for her hometown, a lot of people started to pay attention because no one expected Candace Parker to leave LA. No one did. No, everyone thought she was just going to be a spark forever. And so when she left and was showing how players are moving, I sat there, I said, this league is going to blow up. This league is really going to blow up. And so I launched a show in 2023 and we had an amazing time with it. It was so much fun. Carried it into 2024. Unfortunately, no longer with that employer. And so that show is no longer. So that's what kind of led to creating the podcast was Courtside with KB. I just sat there and I said, I want to keep my name in this space. I've done a lot to try and not just tell the stories of the players from a statistical standpoint and analytics and all of that, like the men get. But I also wanted to showcase that. And the biggest thing that I've always really, really wanted media members to understand is that these athletes are human beings.
Right. They're people. Yeah.
They are people. And they have so many sides to them. It's not just the stat line. They're a daughter or they're a son or they're a mother or a father or they're this or they're that. That storytelling of who the athlete is as a person is something that I always really, really enjoyed doing. As well as the analytics and the stats. I'm a big numbers nerd. So anytime I can sit there and look at, shot charts or statistical breakdowns and really sit down with it, it would be, I enjoy that too. But I created the podcast as a way to give fans that analytical breakdown that, a lot of fans have been craving. And also a lot of media coverage across the board, unfortunately, just with how, as someone who's been in the media space for a long time, everything's behind a paywall. And I understand it from a business perspective because you got to make money somehow. But from a consumer standpoint, and as someone who is also a consumer of media, we pay so much in subscriptions.
Yes, we do.
And so I really wanted to give fans the access for free and let them understand it. That's why I've made sure I started it on YouTube. So it's free access there. And I wanted to have all my written content free, not behind a paywall. If they do want to pay for it, there's a Patreon where I'm going to start putting, exclusive content up there, once the WNBA season starts. But, I really wanted to give them the opportunity and the ability to get their news for free, because it's really hard. It's hard for everybody in the financial state that we're all in the economy. So if there's a way that I can save people, a couple bucks so that they can still get their news, like that's what I really want to do. And so that's what led to the podcast. We're only 5 episodes in. We're brand new.
Right.
But I've enjoyed it so far, and it's a transition for sure. I've been in the podcasting space from a production standpoint. So now being back in front of a camera again is something that, one, I enjoy. I love being in front of the camera. And then 2, just talking and getting to talk hoops, for an unlimited amount of time is something really cool.
Yeah, it's good. And like I said, I've enjoyed, even though you said only 5 episodes, and I've enjoyed the podcast for sure.
Thank you.
And I'll tell you this, for like being real about it. It's when I feel the connection, because we're almost the same in a way. Like you said, you like to get into numbers and spreadsheets and things. I'm the same way. So I said, I feel that. I really do. And also the storytelling on top of that. I think, and that's really important. That's missing in a lot of media, is the storytelling. And it seems like a lot of media members. Now, you said I've done some of the Zoom meetings that the WNBA has over the last, this will be my 3rd year with this, even though I've been following women's hoops for a long time, women's sports in general, and seen the growth, seen it from the beginning. And everything too, like when the Houston Comets won right from the beginning, and where it is today, the growth of that has exploded big time. But it's interesting. Like I said, I think the storytelling was missing, coverage was missing from that. Now they had some, and I mean we could talk. You say 2024 was a big boom for it. You said for viewership and sponsorships and advertising, and yes, that was it. But you're right. Pre COVID, the WNBA was in a great place anyway. Before that, all those, you said the big names and big stars and champions and all these, and but now you're right. It has the platforms and the space to really that can get the attention it deserves. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. I mean, the W is only going to get bigger from here.
Yeah, right.
I'm excited. I think this CBA that's coming up after this year is not going to be just so monumental for women's hoops. It's going to be monumental for women's sports in general. It's going to be so important and so impactful, because what these players end up fighting for, which obviously, pay should be one of the top things for
huge
sure.
Pay raise, yes.
But I also believe not only that, they need to, if you can't do it through salary, then these girls should be allowed to make money off of the jersey sales. They should be allowed to get the same revenue percent.
Yeah.
They should be, I also think the biggest thing that they should negotiate in this next thing is player safety, not just in person, but digitally as well, and online, because so many players, and speaking just from what I'm covering in the Sky, Angel Reese gets an absurd amount of hate and online bullying. And I for me, I personally don't understand it. I've watched her game. I love how she plays. And then the few times I've spoken with her, she's just a really great individual, smart woman, incredible businesswoman. Oh my God, so incredible businesswoman. And she wants to be, she wants to have her hand in a lot of things. And I think she's going to be a really monumental person for the W. And I feel that the W needs to do right in protecting the players, because at the end of the day, the players are the ones making them the money. So if you don't protect the players, then you're not going to get your players to stick around, especially the salaries that are being paid right now. Like if we're going to speak from a full athlete standpoint, I don't believe any athlete across any board, no matter what sport you play outside of hockey and football, should be making more than, $5 million in salary. Whatever you do in your endorsements and everything off to the side, by all means, go get your bag, do what you want to do.
Yeah, keep getting all the money you can, right?
Sure. But like at the end of the day, like we're paying athletes this much money, but not doctors or teachers or nurses. I'm somebody that, I think it's absurd the salaries some of these athletes are making, like Shohei Ohtani making $750 million.
Right.
All 30% of the time is insane. That drives me up a wall. But I do believe though that there needs to be equity of opportunity, and that if you give these women a chance and showcase that they are money makers and can build the revenue and can get things going, that you should give them that percentage, and you should allow them to have, make that money off of the league like they do in the men's league. Give them that same equity there. And that's all that matters at the end of the day is the equity of opportunity and the equity of resources.
Yeah, very well said. Yeah, and the growth of, like I said, the growth of women's sports, like I said, has exploded, has grown so much. So now that you have all the investments and endorsements, and it's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger. So now they need the women need to be paid even more because of they need a share of that equity, that huge share of equity. And that's one of the biggest storylines heading into the season. We're going to get into all that too, but got a couple of comments here in the chat. Nathan says, hi, Karli.
Hello.
From Sports Rush here. He says, amazing story that your journey and everything too. And he said he also covers the WNBA Zoom meetings. Thanks. Yes, when I get those links, I do. Yes, it's always good to share and get more people, get more eyes on in there, and be able to ask questions and stuff. Try to help out as much as I possibly can when I can. So he said, well said. I think he liked everything you said. So I was so good. So yes. Thanks for the comments and everything too. So, but yeah, let's get into the Chicago Sky. And I saw, I think you tweeted out yesterday. You said they're making the playoffs and they're going to be a 5th seed.
5 to 7.
But 5 to 7. You said that in between 5 and 7. I agree with you too on that. I think they're going to definitely be in that range. And because they've improved. You said, and everything too. You covered Chicago Sky. What do you see? What's their ceiling for you, and what's their expectations? You said 5th through 7th seed to make the playoffs as well. But what do you see the improvements they need to do to make the playoffs?
The great thing is there is no ceiling. That's what I love about it. That this is what I always like to say. The preseason is the worst teams will ever look. This is the worst that teams will ever look.
Right in the beginning. Yeah.
Right at the very beginning. And here's the other thing. There's still 15 players on the roster. So you don't they still need to make some cuts. I really don't know what they're going to, I have a feeling the Sky are going to carry 12, but it's who that 12th person is going to be. In my opinion, it's between 3 players in Morgan Birch, Jessica Carter, and Maddie Westfeld. I see them leaning more towards Westfeld, but it all depends on what Marsh wants in his roster construction.
Right.
The best thing with this team that's so different from 2024 is the veteran leadership. Like bringing in Courtney Vandersloot has just changed this offensive identity. It's like a full 180. Like it's crazy. What I witnessed last year, the assist rate was so low. Wasn't a lot of 3-point shooting. Wasn't a lot of shooters in general. And now they added that in the offseason with Kia Nurse, Ariel Atkins. You have your assist leader right there in Courtney Vandersloot. Both Camilla and Angel are going to be dominant inside, along with the 10-year veteran in Elizabeth Williams. You also have Michaela Onyenwere on the wing with Rebecca Allen, both of them bringing veteran experience. Like, if you just look across the board, I consider a veteran as someone who's got 5+ years in the league. Of those players, they have, I believe it's 8 that have that, and they have 63 total seasons under their belt. Like, that's a level of veteran leadership that's going to be so impactful, not just in helping develop Angel and Camilla. Like, that's a huge, the sophomore or the second year season is always the biggest jump developmentally that we see from rookies is in that second year. Third year is when you see more finessing, and then by their 4th year, yes, there's room to grow, obviously, but their gameplay unless you get put into a different system, obviously, but let's say you've stayed with the team for the 4 years from rookie to your 4th year. By that 4th year, if you haven't had a coaching change or haven't had anything, you're really at a point where your game is in a really solid spot. And then it's about doing some small tweaks.
Fine tuning. Yep.
Exactly.
Agreed.
And so this Sky team, they move fast. The pace of play is very incredibly different, completely noticeable difference from last year to this year. And then on top of that, I'm really, really intrigued. They kept preaching selflessness and not wanting to play selfish basketball. And in the first preseason game, they assisted, I think it was 21 assists on 32 attempts.
Yeah.
Or 32 made field goals, excuse me. And then I think from yesterday, it was like 18 attempts on 20 something made field goals. Like that, they're wanting to assist on almost every play, which was just not the case in 2024. The one thing that I'm intrigued to see improve, though, is the defensive identity. Like the offense is just a night and day difference for sure from 2024.
Right.
Because Marsh is such an offensive-minded head coach, which you need now in the growing WNBA sphere and what the game's turning into. What I really want to see is what this defense is going to be. From the just 2 preseason games that they've played, we've seen hands in passing lanes, we've seen disruption right in the face, and really blocking out inside and creating opportunities to limit second and third chance possessions for their opponent. Against Minnesota was a huge test, but there were a couple possessions where Minnesota had 3, 4, sometimes 5 opportunities on one end of the floor because of rebounding. So the defensive rebound, and granted, who they had in was not their starters, but that is something that's going to be the biggest thing to watch is that defense. They want to play that transitional style where it's defense into offense, but they need to be able to play sound defense to be able to turn it into offense. So granted, it's only been 2 preseason games.
Right.
They're trying to figure out what lineups are. They're still trying to figure out who's going to make the team. I have a feeling you normally see identities really start to take shape by between the 3rd and 5th game regular season. And that, I think, is when fans can really have a better understanding of what the Sky's full-blown identity on both sides of the ball will look like. I think it's going to be a very fast-paced shoot, love the shooting, wanting to shoot all the 3 balls all the time, along with the mid-range. And then veteran leadership is going to be really, really pivotal.
I mean, you broke it all down. I don't have to add anything to that. Well, you got the pulse of the Chicago Sky, and I agree 100%. Just watching and seeing the improvements of, you said, veteran leadership, Camilla and Angel Reese improving in their 2nd year. And you said they have the size, they have veteran leadership now, and that's all you need. And they're going to improve. Right? They have to improve. Like you said, if you just see their roster on paper and you see the names and their skill sets, you're thinking, okay, this team's going to be very, very good if they put it all together. And if they put it all together the way you described it, they should be definitely in that top 8, 7, 8 from where they were last year. And you're right. It looks like from the first 2 preseason games, it looks like it is a night and day type of thing from just from the couple of veterans that they added to the mix. That can bring a lot of more balance to this roster, and it looks like that's what it's going to take. You said health permitting. I think if they're healthy, they'll definitely be a problem in that top 7.
Health is the biggest issue for all teams across the
all teams. Yeah,
there is only 12 spots, which that's another thing I would like to see in the CBA negotiations is getting rosters to
40. I saw that. I saw you posted that too, and I agree with that.
That's all they need. 14 spots. They don't need to run that. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. Just run 14 spots for sure. So it would be nice to see Chicago get into, like I said, shooting, which they lacked last year, playmaking ability, especially from the point guard spot, and then they added Haley Van Lith too. On top of that, now how much she plays throughout the season, that's a wait and see to be determined. But she's another one that can bring She's fiery. She aggressive. Like she gets in, tries to play, plays defense, all those things, and has experience playing point guard too, be the backup point guard, and she would learn from Sloot too. She'll learn from from the veterans as well. So we'll see if how much Haley Van Lith plays as well.
Yeah, I think she'll be off the bench. I don't think she's not starting. She won't be starting.
No.
But one thing that Sloot said, no joke, in that second preseason game was how Haley is a sponge. And not only how Haley is going to get better learning under Sloot, but how Sloot is also going to get better playing against Haley in practice. Like that's high praise.
High praise.
15-year veteran saying that how Haley Van Lith plays Vandersloot in practice makes Vandersloot a better player. That shows yes, Haley may not contribute right away when you look at offensive numbers, because that's what a lot of people look at more so than anything else. Is they're like, oh, what's the shooting? What's the, all of that? What's the rebounding? What's the assist?
Yeah, scoring. Yeah.
What she's going to do defensively, I think, is where her impact's really going to be felt more so in her rookie season. She's going to contribute offensively, but I don't think it's going to be nearly as impactful as what her defensive intensity will be when she does get the minutes. Yeah,
she definitely, if she gets the minutes, like said, learning on a Vandersloot, I think will definitely help for sure on both ends. Her experience would help Haley Van Lith and keep improving each, for this year also. And as you said, Vandersloot is learning from her as well. Just being able to keep up. Vandersloot is a veteran champion, and you're thinking, okay, can they'll be able to learn from it right from each other too. So I'm interested to see how much Chicago improves as well. So looking forward to your coverage on that team as well each and every day from there. So let's get into a couple other teams. We could go through all of them, but for the time being, what other teams do you have that you're looking out for this year? There's been so many moving parts, trades, free agent moves. This is going to be an interesting season. But any other teams that you have your eyes on that can make some noise, really improve? Just a couple of teams that you can name.
I would say Atlanta is a team that is going to be sneaky. I also think if LA can stay healthy, LA is going to be a very dominant team this year. I will also throw in there Seattle. I also believe Seattle will
be sleeping on Seattle.
People are sleeping on Seattle. And a lot of it, God, that poor Seattle team just dealing with so many injuries.
I know, right?
Jeez. Terrible. I feel so bad for them. And so I think those are the three teams, like the top four teams for me in the league this year. You have Minnesota, New York, Las Vegas in there. I would also and Indiana. Those are the top four teams that people will be watching this year. Minnesota, yes, it was a preseason game, but man, Minnesota still looks good with who
they look good. They might be the favorites. I mean, I know the Liberty, they're the champions, but I mean, Minnesota, not to cut you off, but but Minnesota looks like the team that they're so, I think they're going to go on like this revenge season. And they're like, okay, we got slighted out of that championship for real. And now we're really going to come in and dominate and try to dominate this league. So I think they're the team to beat, actually.
I would agree. I think Minnesota, Vegas, New York, and Indiana are the top four. I don't think it's in that order. I think those will be the top four teams. Whatever the order is going to be dependent on when they play each other and when we get to see those actual matchups. Right. The 5 through 8, though, I see Chicago, not in this order, but Chicago, Atlanta, Seattle, LA. 5, 6, 7, 8. And then Washington's in a full rebuild. Valkyries are in a rebuild. Phoenix they don't have depth really there. And what I think Dallas will be this year is what the Sky were last year, which is that bubble team. Right there, like fighting for 8 and 9, really like just it's going to come down to the wire. And I think it might be between Seattle, or I would say between Atlanta and Dallas for that 8 seed.
That last seed.
Everything is so dependent on injuries. So like what projections are now could be completely different, in 4 or 5 weeks. So but that's what I see as the top 8, in no particular order at this moment. But I really do believe that it will be Sky, Atlanta, Seattle, and LA in that bottom portion of the top 8 and the 5 through 8. Those are the teams that, and then, dependent on how they look, when the regular season comes around, you could see some of those top 4 teams fall into the 5 and 6 and see some of those,
for sure.
That's kind of the beauty of the W. I will say that once they start adding more teams, I'm intrigued to see what the new playoff format will be. If they're gonna follow that NBA style of actually following the conference model. But I know you just need more teams before you can start doing that. So I'm also intrigued though, once it gets to 16, is it still going to be a top 8 or is it going to be like a top 10?
Top 10, yeah. Could be.
I'm intrigued to see what the playoff format will be, as more teams get added here in the next, not even just next year, but 5-10 years.
5-10 years, yeah. Because you got Golden State now, but then you got Toronto, Portland. Didn't Cleveland? I think Cleveland just ended up. Did they get officially?
No. So all the other teams have just put in bids.
Right.
So like Cleveland's put in a bid, Tennessee's put in a bid.
Yep.
I think I saw Denver's trying to put in a bid.
Philadelphia. Yep.
Philly. There are 2 cities that I really want to see get a WNBA team. Philly is absolutely one of them. And can we bring back to the Detroit Shock?
Why not?
The Detroit Shock.
Yes. Why not? Bring back Detroit.
Give Detroit loves basketball. That is a basketball city.
It is.
They popped out and came out for the women's team when it was up there. So I want to bring back maybe, under a different name, maybe new branding, but I want to see the Detroit Shock really come back. And Philly absolutely needs a team.
I would love it. That's where I'm at. I live in Philly, and we definitely want a team here. I mean, it's a major sports town. You got, so it's huge, right? And we need. I think they definitely need to build it. They got a new stadium, new name, new stadium. They already working on that, so makes sense. Just get a Philly team here.
Well, now I want to ask you this as someone who's from Philly. What would your Philly women's team name be? If you want to make it if there was something, with the tie to Philly, what would is there something that kind of sticks out to you?
Oh man, that's a good question. Ooh, put me on the spot. I have to get back to you on that because that's a good question. I don't know what it would. Jeez, I mean, because everyone they try to go with Rocky, the theme, and it's so funny that yes, but Rocky, Sylvester's not even from Philadelphia, so it wouldn't even be that, but it'll be some. I don't know. That's a good question.
Because I was thinking you could do. And God, I might be a little off in my geography. Liberty Bell's in Philadelphia.
Liberty Bell, yeah, I was thinking that. Liberty
Philadelphia Bell or something.
Bell.
I don't know.
It could be that.
I don't know. I don't know. What I don't want in any of these WNBA teams that get expanded in NBA cities is when Golden State became a thing and they were working with the Warriors, I did not want the Warriorettes.
The Warriorettes, nah. We don't
any of that. 70. I don't like it in any level. I don't
we don't need the 89ers or anything like that. I don't want none of that. No, I'm with you on that. I don't know. It's got to be a whole new name like the Toronto Temple, even though got to get used to that. But I understand why they did it.
A lot of people don't like that name.
Yeah.
Why? I'm not mad at it. For me, it's the color scheme that I'm not a fan of. I don't like the colors.
Those colors, yeah. And I get it. Like they say, we're going to play up tempo. We're going to do this. Okay. I get that. But it'll grow. It'll grow just like every other name. It'll definitely grow. But the Valkyries I thought was cool. I like their color scheme. But I'm glad I'm with you. I'm glad they named the Warriorettes or anything like that.
Lady Warriors or whatever.
Lady Warriors, that would have been something. Lady Sixers, I don't want to see that. None of that. No, I get it. No, yeah, the Bells might be. That's not bad. Philadelphia Bell, tribute to the Liberty Bell for sure. Yeah, that might be it. Hey, yeah, we should me and you should trademark that name since we thought about that and they pay us for that trademark.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, spell it out that way. Philadelphia Bell. I hope you guys are listening. Philadelphia Bell. We get that name on that too for sure. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting. I'm very excited for this season. I want to ask you two more about Paige Beckers. What's your a baller, baller champion, all things. She gets it, and just a great player and on and off the court person seems like too. But what's your expectation for Paige this season? As you said, Dallas. They got a pretty decent team, pretty good team too as well. So like you said, they could be fighting for that last spot for the playoffs.
Yeah, one, I've been a Paige Beckers fan since that first hoop mixtape
drop
when she was like
14, 15. Oh yeah.
I was like, what? Oh my gosh, she's gonna be a #1 overall pick. She's gonna be awesome. I have followed her game for years. Like she's, oh my God, I'm so happy that we can finally see her, on a pro stage,
Yes, and healthy, and yes.
Mm-hmm. I think for her, it's gonna be. I hate making comparisons because I like just not it. I really don't, but it's kind of the only way to describe it. Kind of what Caitlin Clark went through last year and like adjusting to the league because they play the same position, but they play the position very differently. Right. They're both going to go through their own, like Caitlin went through her phase of adjustments and understanding and growing. Paige is going to do the same thing. Mm-hmm. What I really hate is when fans try and make these rookies believe that these rookies need to be fully developed right out of college.
Immediately, yeah.
That's never going to be the case. It's very rare that happens. I believe there's maybe only been 2, 3, 4 players all time that have done that, that make that transition seamlessly. She's going to need some time to just adjust to. I don't think the speed of the game is going to be her issue. I think the physicality of the game.
Yeah, kind of like with Caitlin. Yep, like you said.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's going to be the physicality and understanding these girls, they go hard in the paint.
Yeah, they're going to push you around. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Those bodies.
Grown women.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I really want to see her not get too in her head, with all of the physicality. I want her to and I don't think we've seen that in the preseason game, but it can't, it's also preseason. So things can change in the regular season. So I really want to see her stay mentally strong, want to see her obviously stay healthy. That's the biggest thing. But what I really want to see out of her is find her voice in commanding the Wings offense. I want to see how she is as a vocal leader and also leading the offense. I think her with Enrique is going to be a very interesting guard pairing. You also have Dejanay Carrington too. So you have some good, you have really good guards that she can learn from.
Yeah.
She's got great
both sides of the ball too. Yeah.
Exactly. She's got great vets to learn from. I think her offense will translate. I think the biggest thing for her that she needs to work on though this year will be her defense. And she's going to learn. She'll learn in that first game when she gets either crossed up on or she gets blown by, and it's going to happen. You're going to have that welcome to the W moment, every player, every rookie has. And so I'm intrigued to see what she does and how she is as a vocal leader in the W, because we saw it at UConn. We all saw how she is as a leader and can really maintain that poise on the court. It absolutely will translate to the W, but I want to see how that translates, how that translation goes through. I think she's going to be really, really impactful. And if Dallas is smart, they never let her go. They keep her there forever. They don't want to let her leave.
They don't want to do the Luka. No, they don't want that. They don't want
that. Harrison cannot be in there making any phone calls.
No, keep him away.
So I think, she's going to be a really good face for that franchise, moving forward. Again, I'm just real intrigued to see what's going to happen to these rookies when the CBA happens, because the CBA is going to be so impactful to this specific rookie class.
Yeah, then this season, you're right, totally right. That's that cloud that's hovering above the
Mhm.
season. CBA is going to be a lot of talk on that as well. But I agree with you on the what Paige, just seeing her get her voice on this team, and they said she can learn from Enrique, especially the scoring. Scoring, Enrique's one of the best in scoring scorers that we've ever seen, and
Mhm.
in Dejanay Carrington on the defensive side. I mean,
Oh,
she's a problem defensively, and but she can definitely learn from both. And you said she'll get that, have that voice. They already seem like they're, you know, getting that chemistry going so far, and now it's just all about adjustments. And like you said, I'm with you. I don't like really comparing either, but I know that's like the natural thing because what Caitlin did this past season as well. A lot of hype coming in, and now exceeding that hype, which Caitlin did, and I'm sure Paige will do the same thing. She has the game. She just has the game and the person and the skill set just to be able to be like, okay, let me adjust. But it's going to take time, and I think fans sometimes have expectations that it's not going to just be overnight. It's going to take some games before
it's also
they
going to take
really
years.
in years sometimes. Yeah, in years.
It
Yeah, for
takes-
sure. I mean, Candace Parker came in and dominated for sure her rookie year. And so yeah, I can, and it took, like I said, it took Caitlin some time to adjust and some rest that she got over, the USA All-Star break. So and then she hit the ground running from there. So all right, last one. Gotta ask about Indiana. A lot of expectation for them. Again, another team that made some changes and got a lot of veterans and championship experience on their team, and new coach Stephanie White as well. Where do you see Indiana going? There's a lot of high expectations. I think they'll be they're gonna be a really, really good team, with the health and hopefully health, again, health and chemistry. But as of right now, they look really good in this preseason. But what do you see the expectations for Indiana?
I think I think Stephanie White really just wants a championship so
Yeah.
badly. She
Yes.
just wants one so badly. And her doing it at a team that she used to coach, back in 2015, 2016 is going to be, why not do it there?
Yeah.
And so I think the hiring of Stephanie White was a really great move for the Indiana Fever. I think that was such a smart get for them. They won when people are like, hang a banner for winning the offseason. In my opinion, you give that banner to Indiana. They did
Yeah.
a great job in bringing in phenomenal veterans who have years of experience. You brought in Tawana Bonner. You also have they kept Kelsey Mitchell, which I really thought Kelsey was going to be leaving in free agency, and the fact that they were able to retain her for a year was phenomenal.
Huge.
And then you have Caitlin Clark. You also have Sophie Cunningham, Lexi Held. Like they have a really great veteran group over there. And then you also, of course, Aaliyah Boston. So they have, they're going to be very, very dominant this season. Again, health withstanding. Like health is the biggest thing. I hate when I'm so for roster expansion, and I could do like a whole diatribe on it. But
right.
I really want to see. I really think Indiana is going to be a real powerful team, very dominant, great inside. They're going to be really dominant inside. I want to see, we've only seen Caitlin in one game, but it was against the Brazilian national team in Iowa. Like I want to see her, because she didn't play against the Mystics. So I want to see like what this growth was in the off season that she did in her game when she does play against a W opponent. I'm intrigued to see what that developmental growth that all the rookies across the league, like another person who I think is going to do really well if we're able to see her get some more minutes is Aaliyah Edwards, Aaliyah Boston as well. I think she's just been on this nice upward rise in her WNBA career. I'm just really intrigued to see what that second year of Caitlin Clark will be, because we just haven't seen it. And this is no disrespect to the Brazilian national team at all. I just want to see what her game is like against players that she's going to play against for the next 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, she took that off season off, didn't, just kind of developed her game and her physical, trying to get more physical, her muscle. Caitlin really, you could tell from the off season how that's going to translate, and just to see her trajectory continue to, her to continue to thrive, and now being with a team and from their press conferences, they were talking about they want to win for Stephanie White. So they want to win. They talking championship. So that's the expectation. And they got the team around. I love the Sophie Cunningham pick. I think that was, to me, DeWanna Bonner for sure, definitely. But that's Sophie Cunningham pick, and she's already getting into it with players now. It's like we're protecting our team, and if I need to be the bad guy, if you want to say, hey, so be it. If I need to be the bully, so be it. I'm gonna be that person. And they said we're gonna protect Caitlin, we're gonna protect Aaliyah, we're gonna protect Kelsey Mitchell, we're gonna protect them. and I love that.
I'm really intrigued to see what they do. We all know what a Stephanie White system looks like. We know that she can absolutely take teams to the playoffs with about anybody on the roster. Like she knows what she's doing.
Good point.
I'm just very intrigued. For me, that's why it's almost a stamp that they're going to go to the playoffs, if, barring health.
Yep. Yes.
But for me, it's like a guarantee for them to make the playoffs. Same thing with Las Vegas and New York and Minnesota. Like those are guarantees in my mind.
Yeah.
And what I really want to see though is what I've really felt for Stephanie White is she just gets so close and then just like it's the journey that has been her story. So I want to see if she's able to do that in Indiana. I think her and Caitlin Clark as a coach player combination is a really, really, really smart move.
Yeah.
I think that was a perfect person to bring in to help develop her game. And I'm intrigued to see, what Indiana will do. I really believe that they're going to be a team to look out for because just like other teams, but just like the Sky, honestly, they bring in that veteran leadership to help lead them there, bring that experience along with the new head coach. And then you see what happens after that. So I know the regular season can't get here soon enough.
Get soon enough next week.
That first game, first game for both of them, Sky v Fever I believe it's at Indiana.
At Indiana, I believe. Yeah.
So it's gonna be. I'm hoping to go there if I can. Got to look at my schedule and everything there, but it's gonna be real interesting to see what will happen in that first game. That's when everyone's going to get a real true litmus test of what this season will be like for all these teams.
Right from the beginning, right from the jump, which I love. I'm glad they scheduled it that way because it's gonna be a lot of great basketball. I'm looking forward to it. So, Karli, this has been so much fun. I mean, I had you for an hour. I was trying to. We just kept talking. We just kept going. So I was trying to say, we'll keep it a half hour, not too much longer. But hey, I had to keep asking. I was just asking.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for. We're here to just talk hoops. I don't care how long it is for.
Yeah, I enjoy it. No, I really enjoyed this for sure. And I thank you again for doing this. Let everyone know where they can follow you on social media. Also, what's next for you? Like I said, the W season is coming. I know you're locked in and everything too. But for the summer and everything, where they can follow you and what you got coming up.
Yeah, you can follow me personally on all platforms at Karli Bell 33 except TikTok. I just don't use TikTok.
I don't use it as much either.
I just don't. But if you want to follow the podcast, you can follow us on everything: Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, TikTok, YouTube, Threads, all of it at Courtside KB. And then if you want to get any of our, and you can also find us anywhere you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, all of it. And then if you want to tune into what we're doing from a written standpoint, that's courtsidewithkarlibell.com. And we'll have articles there as much as possible because I am a human. There's only so much that I can do.
Yep.
But our podcast episodes drop every Monday. And excited to see what this season will be like.
Well, I'm looking forward to all the content, all the coverage and everything too. So be on the lookout for all of that. Follow Karli, like, subscribe, all those things, share everything there, and reach out if you want to on your podcast or anything like that. I got to get you back on for sure. We got to definitely. Sure. This was good. This was really I really enjoyed this for real, for sure. But again, follow Karli on all those platforms and the podcast as well. So thank you again. I really appreciate it, and best of luck and many blessings to you and on this upcoming season. I'm sure we'll be on some Zoom media. I think they got one all this week, this rest of the week. I think I just got something. So yeah. I'll be on there tomorrow and the rest of the week until the season starts. So looking forward to it.
Amazing. Looking forward and had a blast chatting with you, Courtney. It's been awesome.
Right. Yep. Thank you. Me too. You have a good rest of the week, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Thanks.